The next activity, which Kristen can help me with here, I wanted to introduce bilateral drawing. If you Google bilateral drawing or go onto YouTube, there's all kinds of tutorials, different ways of approaching that. You'll need 2 different markers, and go ahead and take the caps off. And you kind of want to have two different colors, like maybe a dark color and a light color. Orange. And the idea of this is bilateral stimulation. So Kristen, if you want to explain what that means, what that term means.
Well, it's kind of like the butterfly hug, which we talk about and use in Women in the Battle. And so when you're dysregulated or upset, stimulating both sides of the body, whether through the butterfly hug where you're patting yourself and pairing that with deep breathing. Another form of bilateral stimulation is EMDR, which can be done through tones on either side of the brain through your ears, or you can do EMDR bilateral stimulation through your eyes going back and forth. And what this therapist who developed EMDR found was that this type of bilateral stimulation helps the brain reprocess traumatizing things and categorize them as processed rather than frozen traumatic memories. It can help calm an overstimulated brain. And another way to do bilateral stimulation would be walking or running, because it's either side. So what we're doing right now is bilateral stimulation with our hands, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the idea of this is you have a light color marker, a dark color marker, and you start somewhere on the paper here. If you want to start over there, yep. I'll start over here. You start by creating a little dot where they're touching, and then you're going to spiral out in a circular motion at the same time. Both hands are moving together. So it almost looks like you're creating lungs or something. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. It looks kind of like lungs.
Or an onion. It looks like an onion right now. Mine does, at least.
Yes. And so you just keep spiraling out.
Your circles get bigger and bigger.
Yep. And then you go backwards. You stop, and now you go the other way. And what we're doing is we're creating new neural pathways. And what's really helpful when you do this exercise is if you can intertwine this with music. Music is a wonderful way to stimulate other areas of your brain at the same time as you're doing this exercise. And the whole idea, what are we doing here? We're trying to get our brains to not be stuck. We're trying to find a way that's calming and soothing. And then the final thing you do is now you crisscross the markers over each other, almost like creating like the infinity symbol. And this is kind of a new little trendy therapy technique that they help, especially people with PTSD, to help them regulate their emotions and find their calm and their center.
And then you can see it better too. So can you start?
Yep.
Just from the
center.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, you want your markers to touch at the same point, and you just start looping circles as they join together. And again, this is called bilateral drawing. And then at some point when you feel like your circles are big, then you start to go in the opposite direction. It reminds me when you're a kid, you used to play with those spirographs.
Yes.
Kind of a similar thought process. And then eventually you start to crisscross. You create like the infinity symbol. And we're targeting those neural pathways, trying to open up the channels, giving our brain an area of rest.